Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is finally time to start discussing Halloween Horror Nights 30, aka Halloween Horror Nights 2021. So it's been a wild year, a lot of waiting around, hoping that we could see a return of Halloween Horror Nights in fall 2021, and with an announcement a little over a week ago, we found out that yes, Halloween Horror Nights 30 is coming. We got our first house announcement and we also got our first rumor map. So we have a lot to discuss today. Let's jump into it. So if this is the first video you've ever seen of mine, hi, I am Liz. I am a huge Halloween Horror Nights fan. I've been attending since 2001. It's my favorite event of the year. And on my channel in the months leading up to the event, I discuss all the rumors, the announcements, some Halloween Horror Nights history, and of course, when it's time for the event, I vlog at Halloween Horror Nights Orlando. And since I'm likely just weeks away from getting vaccinated, I fully plan to attend Halloween Horror Nights 30 this fall in Orlando, and now I live in Florida again. I live in Riverview, just about an hour and 20 minutes away from Universal. There's gonna be a lot of Horror Nights vlogs on my channel this time around. Fingers crossed, obviously. We don't know how the event's gonna run this year quite yet. If it's anything like usual and there's frequent fear passes involved, you best believe I'll be there quite often. It won't just be recap vlogs going over the course of the month. I will be attending the event throughout the run, which I'm very excited about. That's how my channel used to exist, and I'm very ready to return to that format. Stay tuned, vlogs from the event, history from the event, news and rumors, all here on my channel, so if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. So with that out of the way, let's start talking about the two important topics we have today, which is this map released by Horror Night Nightmares and our first official house announcement, which is kind of our second house announcement if you paid attention to anything that happened last year. So let's jump into this map and go over what Horror Night Nightmares is saying will be our event for 2021. So if you're paying attention to last year's rumors, then this house map looks very familiar to you. Basically what we had at the end of last season, with one big change. So let's go ahead and run through the list. First of all, let's go through the two that are not a surprise at all, and that would be The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. We saw this at Horror Nights Light last fall. Many of you probably already walked through it. I did not get to see it, so I am very much looking forward to seeing it this fall. And Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, the other house that they chose to open during Horror Nights Light. You've got to go through those houses. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of them. I broke my cardinal rule and I watched walkthroughs of them on YouTube because I didn't know if I was going to get to see them, because I didn't know if they would bring them back for the season. I didn't want to miss out on seeing them, and I didn't feel comfortable going without a vaccine with everything that was going on. I didn't get to see them in person, but I do know that Tooth Fairy facade was beautiful. I think it was very well done, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that in person. The walkthroughs for Bride of Frankenstein Lives, very hard to see anything that was going on, so I feel like I didn't really spoil anything for myself there, but looked like a house I would really enjoy. So I'm looking forward to seeing both of those, and I, for one, am very glad that they're returning so that people like myself and all the others who couldn't travel in for the event get to see them at Horror Nights 30. The other one that wasn't a surprise, but good news for its fans, is that Beetlejuice is on this map, and we know that one is a fact because Universal announced it. So Beetlejuice, which only opened for the final weekend of HHN Light, is going to be back in all its glory for all the rest of us to see it. I am an 80s movie fan. I love the 80s. I love that whole era. So I am excited to get to see the house. I know there were very mixed reviews about it at the event, but it was not a full cast. It was behind Plexi. I'm not sure what we'll see as far as Plexi at this fall's event. Hopefully we don't have to have Plexi. Time will tell. I think some of those mixed reviews will go away once it's at its full force, once the cast have had time to practice and get into the characters. And I know a lot of you out there are excited to see it as well. The other house that is on this map that is pretty much definite is Puppet Theater Captive Audience, and we know of this one because it was featured on a special on the NBC Peacock network, and you discussed the concept of the house. It's going to be there, it just hasn't had its official announcement through the website and all the other channels, but we know Puppet Theater Captive Audience is happening. It's built, it's ready to go, and I for one love originals, so I am very excited for this one. Next up we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I am not excited for this one just because I feel like it's been at the event recently multiple times and it's just not my favorite IP. I know some of you out there likely love it. It's just not my favorite IP to walk through. I didn't really love the last house that was there. We'll see if they do something different with it. I'm always up for a different interpretation, but the previous two houses were pretty similar and it's just not my cup of tea. It's not my IP. It's not a movie that I enjoy or a property that I love. So it goes in the meh category for me, but I'm sure some of you are super stoked to see it back, or maybe you've never seen it before and it's your first time and you're excited for it. I just would have preferred something else for this big anniversary year. Speaking of big anniversary years, we have Icons Captured. Now this one I'm excited for. This is the anniversary house that you want to see. Based on the logo that they've included here, if you're not familiar, this little guy, which I'll put here, is Fear's lantern. So it seems like we're going back to the lore from 2010 and learning more about Fear's lantern and all the icons that were captured in his lantern. But it sounds like they're gonna get released. They're not just gonna chill in a lantern. They're gonna come after us in a house that's featuring the icons of Halloween Horror Nights. I love it. I love seeing the icons return for anniversary years, and I look forward to going through this house. And I know my bestie loves Fear. That's her favorite icon, so I know she's stoked to go through Fear's lantern as well. Following on the trend of 30th anniversary, we have Welcome to Scary Horror in the Heartland. We discussed this in one of my videos from last year. I actually went through a history of Cary, Ohio, because this house was already rumored. Cary, Ohio has a very long history at the Halloween Horror Nights event. Watch my video to learn all about it. I can't wait to see what houses and scare zones and properties they decide to include for this house. There's a lot to choose from and a lot of fan favorites in there. I feel like this is going to be one of my favorites. The only sad part is that on this map they have it located in Tent 3, which if you're a Horror Nights fan from Orlando, you probably know Tent 3 does not usually get the most love out of the tent houses. Now last year, or really 2 years ago, changed that. I think a lot of people were impressed with House of a Thousand Corpses that was in that spot. Hopefully they give it a lot of love and attention for the originals. I just would have preferred them to be soundstage where they had more space, but at least the Icons house is in a soundstage, so we at least got that one. The next one on the list is the Wicked Growth Realm of the Pumpkin, which is located in one of the tents. I love traditional Halloween. I love every time they do anything with pumpkins at this event. The pumpkin heads that were a classic theme throughout the event. Very curious to see what this is going to be. I think originally in rumors we were hoping this was going to be a Scarecrow sequel, and it doesn't seem like it's tied in with Scarecrow. Unfortunately, I feel like they really dropped the ball in not doing a Scarecrow sequel for the 30th anniversary, because by and far Scarecrow is the highest ranked house from recent years. I think across the board everyone says that's one of their favorite houses in their top 5, if not their favorite of all time. It's probably now my favorite of all time. Looking in the past decade, I would say that Scarecrow is my favorite house of the last decade. I really would have liked to see it present at the 30th anniversary, but I feel like this might be in the same realm of scares and atmosphere. So fingers crossed. It's very scary, claustrophobic, fantastic, like Scarecrow. Then we come to two IPs. We have The Haunting of Hill House, which I still have not watched on Netflix because it was part of my homework for last year and then everything happened, so I never watched it. So I need to watch that before I make any commentary on it and see what I think, see how I feel like it will translate into a house. I know there were a lot of Haunting of Hill House fans out there, but I just don't know how it will fit at the event without watching it. So stay tuned, I will eventually watch and do my homework. So finally, that brings us to Creepshow, which is the replacement, supposedly, for the Billie Eilish house, which according to the rumors out there, the Billie Eilish house is the only house that was torn down from last year. News came that it was getting torn down pretty shortly after, so I'm sure it was some sort of contract basis that they could not get Billie to sign on for a second year. For one, I know there was a lot of controversy about the Billie Eilish house and a lot of naysayers. I personally think it would have been a good house. I really enjoy her music, and it was essentially another original because it was concepts based off her music. There was one leaked image of a giant gargoyle that went around the internet for a while, and the gargoyle looked amazing. I think everyone giving Billie Eilish and that house concept a hard time. I think you would have been surprised. We'll never know. And I personally think I would have enjoyed the Billie Eilish house more than its possible replacement, which is Creepshow. Now, I have not seen this movie. I don't think it's going to be my cup of tea. I'm still gonna watch it because homework, but I highly doubt this is gonna be my movie or my TV show. I think there's a TV show too. I don't think it's gonna be for me, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So again, I'll share more thoughts once I've actually seen it. Not holding my breath on that one. So that is the array of houses. Pretty much the exact same that we had for the final rumors of last year, just without Billie Eilish. No surprises there. These scare zones are also basically what we heard at the end of the season, which were a 30th anniversary zone, an unknown original, Creepshow, Terra Cruentas, which is based off the 2005 event. I did a history video on that one as well. So if you don't know what Terra Cruentas is, make sure to go watch that video, and a best of scare zones mashup. But I'm also wondering if Creepshow will get replaced now that it's going to be a house. I doubt they will do a scare zone and a house for Creepshow. I don't think it's that big of a property to have a house and a scare zone devoted to it. They will likely use whatever costumes they were going to use for the scare zone in the house, and something tells me we'll get something else in its place in the scare zone. So that takes us through the entire rumor list that we have right now. I will go ahead and say this. I don't think this rumor map is going to change much at all. We might see some different scare zones, and Creepshow is the most questionable just because it's the replacement, but the other houses were built last year and have been waiting to be opened. So the rumors were already out there. People were already cast into roles for these houses. I think this is going to be our lineup, with the exception of maybe Creepshow and maybe different scare zones. I could see them changing some scare zones around, but I think these are going to be our official houses, maybe different names, probably not the exact names that Horror Night Nightmares gave them, but I think that they've nailed the house content. So this is most likely your event for Halloween Horror Nights 30. With that map, how do you guys feel? Are you just so ready for horror that you're just happy for anything? Because that's kind of where I'm at right now. I was already set that these were going to be our 30th anniversary houses, so I've already accepted them. I've already come to terms with them. I have some thoughts, obviously, on Texas Chainsaw and some other things. But overall, I was very excited for Icons. I was very excited for Scary Ohio. I'm excited to see Tooth Fairy and Bride of Frankenstein Lives in person. And honestly, this year, just get me back in the fog and I will be elated. I definitely plan to make more videos along the way as houses are announced and any other big topics that come up along the way. There's a lot still up in the air for this year's event as far as tickets and capacity and how the event will operate, and most of that we just won't know until closer to the event because they still have to figure out the logistics and we don't know where we're going to be in terms of the pandemic by this fall. Still plenty to discuss even if this is our final map in the months to come. So leave me a comment down below if you have any specific topic you'd like me to discuss that you haven't seen me talk about before. I'm definitely open for suggestions, but for now that's gonna be it, and I'll see you guys again when there's another announcement or some other news. So stay safe, stay spoopy, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.